I'll tell you what, folks, I just sat down with my budget worksheet, pencil, paper, and a calculator. And you know what? I cut my expenditures by 15.1%. That's real savings, and I froze my salary, saving the taxpayers over $1,800. I'm doing this to try to save money for the residents of Fayette County because the commissioners have raised your taxes 78.2% in just 6 years. That's not right. On November 4th, 2025, vote for me, Jon Marietta, for Recorder of Deeds. Let's keep fighting for fiscal sanity and protect your hard-earned money.
'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of Jon Marietta and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Fayette County Recorder of Deeds Office or Fayette County government. This program is privately produced and funded, and no county resources are used for its production or promotion.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was trucking up the highway, minding my own lane, with some dude in a Prius went and flipped me off. Guess my redneck hit him wrong. Seems like everyone these days is a ticking time bomb full of hate for folks like me who don't agree and ain't ever gonna change. And it gets me thinking, leave this long-haired country boy alone.
Hey everybody, this is Jon Marietta, and I am the Hillbilly, and it's another fantastic day here in Fayette County. Today's show is being brought to you by Miles' Garage and Tire Center, Mung's Auto Body, PatriotsOnline.com, Fayette County Recovery Storage and U-Haul, HC Storage in Connellsville, JB Market in Dunbar, Gunslingers in Connellsville, Thundering Hills Feed and Supply, The Ink Spot, Fayette County MAGA Patriots Group, Solid Foundation Ministries, Highline Motorsports, Gun Owners of America, Hillbilly Jon Radio, Jon Marietta for We the People, and Powerline Speedway. Hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. It's been it's actually a little chilly out, but it's a really pretty day out there. So let's get started. The truth will stand when the world's on fire. The truth will stand when the world's on fire. That's from Jeremiah 23:29. Folks, I'll tell you what, truth still matters in Fayette County, and today we're going to talk plain about truth, about this election, and about leadership. Because leadership isn't about hiding behind a keyboard or blocking the people you're supposed to serve. Leadership's about showing up, telling the truth, and standing for what's right, even when it's not popular. My opponent, he's failed that test every single time. He has refused to condemn the radical voices on his own side, the same voices that cheer division, attack people who believe in faith and freedom. He refuses to speak out against the tax increase that they have crushed Fayette County families with. While your bills went up 78%, he stayed silent. He blocked constituents, disrespected veterans, and when our law enforcement officers in York County were murdered, he said nothing, not a word. He'll tell you he never goes negative, but that's all he's done. Bash, smear, silence anyone who disagrees with him. He's allowed fake pages, whisper campaigns to do his dirty work, spreading lies, misinformation, because he can't defend his record. He even refused to publicly condemn the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a husband, a father, and a man of faith. He only managed to condemn political violence when it happened to people on his own side of the aisle. That's not leadership, folks. That's weakness. That's hypocrisy. And that's unfit for office. Now let's talk about a record that actually exists, mine. Since the day I took office at Recorder of Deeds, I've done what I said I'd do. Cut spending, froze my salary, published the automation fund and budget online for everyone to see because transparency isn't optional, it's a duty. Modernized record access, making property transactions faster and safer. Protected veterans DD-214 military records, ensuring those who served are treated with respect and security. And I've done it all without raising a dime of taxes or passing hidden fees on to you. While others talk about accountability, I've lived it. While others hide behind excuses, I've delivered results. This campaign isn't about bitterness. It's about truth, transparency, and trust. It's about keeping Fayette County in the hands of people who believe in God, community, and fiscal responsibility, not politics as usual. So when you head to the polls this November, which is just a few days away, you've seen both styles of leadership. One hides, blocks, and blames. The other shows up, works, and delivers. I'm John Marietta, your recorder of deeds, a fighter for faith, family, and fiscal sanity. And with your vote, we'll keep Fayette County strong, free, and accountable. I want to thank everybody for all the wonderful phone calls we've gotten in the last 72 hours now, I guess, about the concert downtown. There was approximately 700 plus people there. I want to thank all the people that attended. I got two gentlemen here beside me, and I don't want to call them boys because they are men and they are getting ready to graduate from college, I guess, in a little bit here.
That is correct.
I want to call it California University, but it is
Penn West, California now.
Okay, and that's when Melanie and I went to school. It was California University.
I went there.
And it was also she was talking about who did you say was down there?
Oh yeah, I was saying going to concerts. You guys had the opportunity to meet some pretty far out country stars. Well, when I was in college at KU in the late '70s, we had Peaches and Herb perform there, and I thought that was like so cool because you got to meet them, and they were on the campus though. So I'm sure you guys were just as excited and infatuated to meet Lee Greenwood on Saturday
No
night
doubt
too.
about
and,
it.
and they signed. What, he signed your badge or something?
My white cowboy hat he signed
yeah,
for me.
yeah.
And Austin had a
White MAGA hat he signed for me.
Oh, nice! Oh, that is so cool. So I'm sure that was thrilling.
Absolutely.
One of the things I'm curious about is I've had Randy on before, but I can let him tell the story again. What do you going to school for?
business marketing.
Okay.
Is my degree.
So you like to learn about marketing, making people marketing products, doing things like that. Did I have that right, or are
Most definitely.
Are we talking about stock market marketing?
Not particularly the stock market. Definitely more along the lines of marketing products to people and finding the best way to get whatever you're selling. Because at the end of the day, whether it's a product or yourself, you're selling something to people. So the best way to get that message out there and to make sure that it's received properly.
So if Etzel Ford or Henry Ford gives you a call, you'll be on your way to Detroit then, huh?
I'd love to get that phone call, trust me. But I can dream.
And
My major at California is business management.
okay.
Both from the business spectrum of it, but then I got a minor in management information systems, so working with computers that run businesses and just anything to do with management. I picked it because it's just versatile. I could do pretty much anything with it.
Yeah, good move, smart. Yeah.
I like to hear. I like to hear what people are going to school to study because it's important. I mean, you're the next generation that's got to pick up where other people left off, or where when people retire or move into spots where. And you want to work for the Procter and Gamble's, and you want to work for the I don't know about I won't put Tyson Foods on you. Maybe we'll talk about some other ones, but the big companies that need marketing. And I think
Small businesses really
Any
need
company
that.
could use good marketing. Like there's so many places, just local small places that are very successful at what they do, but not all of them necessarily have the best way to get their message out there.
When I worked for Shop and Save, and I was privy to a lot of that stuff, and I will tell you, most of their stuff, they had a marketing company out of Minnesota, and they were horrible, and they just didn't understand Fayette County at all, and if you don't understand Fayette County, it's Fayette County or southwestern Pennsylvania, it was hard, and they were finally, I think they changed that marketing company because I mean. When you're selling when when you're still selling roasts in Minnesota, we're already in steak season here. You know what I mean? Or there's different times, and they didn't understand. One of the things they didn't understand was, and I will tell you this, they didn't understand how to get. I was in the meat department, and I was able to tell them what we needed to do from week to week, and I'd tell them, like, the Steelers are playing at home at 8:00 on Sunday night. We need to have chicken wings in the ad. We need to have ground meat in the ad for people to make meatballs and spaghetti and them kind of things and all the different things. And people I'd get a phone call back. Well, this is what we're going to do. I said it isn't going to work, and they'd lose 20%, and then they get mad at me. So finally, I tell you what, because of some of the things I did, they were able to add flyers for our region for 2-day sales and things like that. We did, and because I just kept after it until I got what I needed, and but that was pretty cool.
Well, let me put it this way. I think I could do a slightly better job at a marketing job than the genius that thought up that Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I think I can do a little bit better.
But anyways, you guys got to go to the concert.
Yes.
And I know you had a good time because
Absolutely.
You were all smiles. Everybody was smiles. There was like 5 or 6 of you in there from
there was all 4 of the officers were there, and we also had a 5th member there as well. Not an officer, but a very loyal and dedicated member of the chapter.
They were busy too.
Oh, yes.
They were busy at the table constantly.
We were getting people through. Once the concert officially kicked off, it was definitely less traffic, but I would say from whenever ticket sales, whenever the doors opened at 5:15 until the first act went on, like we were getting people there, like constant people coming up to the table saying that they support us, they love what we're doing.
Asking any questions? Any questions for you?
There was definitely a couple, especially of the older generations, that didn't understand what really Turning Point was, but so we gave them a quick description. They love it. You know, they knew who Charlie Kirk was because of everything that happened, and we kind of just let them know what we're doing and our impact in the local community. And we also met a lot of great connections that want to even come and speak at California. People from the community, especially Fayette, Washington, I think one from Westmoreland County.
I believe so, yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's nice. That's a great. That's what this is all about. And
Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear that those connections were made, and it'll be beneficial to the group, to the Turning Point organization. And if some of the girls, I know when the presentation was on stage, one of the girls got a little emotional.
that was Alexis, our vice president.
Oh, your vice president. Well,
Yes.
she's going to fill your shoes, huh? In about a year.
Most likely, yes. She's currently a junior at Cal, and she will most likely be the next president, assuming all things remain as they are.
You mentioned somebody's going to the convention, to the AmFest in Phoenix, so there's interest in going there?
Yes.
Yep, I know me and Alexis are confirmed going as of now. We have a
are
couple
you?
more that are a maybe currently from California.
Oh, okay. So do you think that the funds that we raise for you that evening will be going towards that?
Well, they
No
definitely
doubt
could
about
be
it.
helping, yeah. We still got to sit down and plan out the whole thing. It's a lot to plan, but definitely it's a huge help, and we thank you guys so much for everything you've done to contribute towards us and
I was
help
going to
us.
say, whatever it takes to go to that convention. I was talking to somebody from Turning Point yesterday. It's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to meet, not only Lee Greenwood, maybe again, you say, remember, we were the ones who bought the birthday cake out for you in Fayette County. But you will be able to meet Marco Rubio. Anyone will be there, just like the funeral in the summer. This is going to be even bigger in Phoenix because this is the first time he's not there.
Yeah.
And so, you can expect a big crowd, but the contacts and the networking, and you will go away learning so much at these conventions. I went to several CPAC conventions, and you can really, especially young people, going together can bring back so much information back to our communities.
Yeah.
With all the reach out programs, all the things that Turning Point does, from Blexit, to faith groups and action, Turning Point Action, Turning Point Blexit, Turning Point Faith. You will just, be coming home with a lot of stuff. So,
Well, I can say from personal experience, me having gone last year, I talked to the Turning Point rep for our area, and they told me that last year's ticket attendance was about half to 3/4 of the full ticket capacity that they sell for the event. And as of right now, they have nearly every single ticket sold. So I can only imagine how packed it will be this year, considering how busy it was last year. But going on with that, I can also
Did you
say
go last year?
yes, I did go last
you
year.
did go last year.
Yes.
To Phoenix.
Yes, I went to Phoenix.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, I had an amazing time there. I met so many good people. It was truly a special time, and also being a Yinzer, Antonio Brown was there as well, and I got a signed football from him. So that was a really nice bonus.
A Yinzer.
Nice, a Yinzer.
A Yinzer.
Oh yeah.
We stand out in every crowd, though, don't we? There's
Yeah.
Yinzers everywhere.
There was actually quite a few people there with Steelers jerseys on. I was kind of surprised.
Did you go with anyone else or anyone from the Cal U?
I went by myself, but I still had an amazing time going myself. I can only imagine how much fun it would be going with a full group of people from my college.
Did you got to hear Charlie Kirk then? But were you able to meet him by any chance or?
He had his are you aware of the Charlie Kirk show that he would do?
Yeah.
I believe he did it every day of the week. He had a live version of it while he was down there in Phoenix, and I got to be in the live attendance of it. One of the people that he had up there was James O'Keefe, and I got the opportunity to ask him a question while I was there. They did a live questionnaire from the audience. I asked, what was one big piece of government corruption that you hope to see exposed during Trump's administration? Charlie said that he wanted to see the JFK files released, and James O'Keefe said that he wanted to see data about the IRS targeting conservatives, which was, as you know, a very big talking point under the Obama administration.
It was. Yeah, there we go. There's President Trump's on his way.
He heard me.
The president just texted us. But anyways, that's one of the things that they was blown clear out of proportion. I really believe. I mean, there was some bad players in January 6th. There's no doubt about it. But I mean, most of the people that were there. After the president spoke, they just left. I mean, probably 90%, and then, but you always have some people that take things a little bit further. But and from what we're finding out now is they were persuaded to do it by some of our own,
by the FBI agents that were in the crowd.
Yep. I have a good friend of mine. He always tells me. He says if there's more than 100 people there, there's at least one. He said there's at least one FBI agent there. He said no matter where you're at.
I believe it.
Guaranteed.
And we had a couple FBI agents during the vigil, mathematically.
Well, we know there was some. We know there was some people that worked for three-letter organizations, or three letters from the government at Visual Out Fair Chance, and there was also probably one or two that showed up at the concert on Saturday. They don't know if they came in or they were outside or vice versa. There's some bad players here in Fayette County that did everything they could to keep that from coming off, but we just kept trudging forward and fixing the problems and taking care of things and
fires.
putting out all the little fires. I mean, everybody did their part. I mean, I want to thank everybody that was a part of it. We had one lady that stepped up right at the very morning and helped us decorate the stage and do some stuff like that. And I really want to thank her so much. And I appreciate everything that her and her mother did for us right at the end. There's always something to do. Melanie was driving people back and forth and from the hotel, and it was. I will tell you this: it was definitely a learning experience. So I'm telling you, we'll do it again, but not right away.
Need a little time to cool down.
Yeah, we got to figure out how to. I think Sunday I went to church and then I come home and I ate a sandwich and next thing I knew it was the Steelers were getting ready to kick off. So that was I mean, and then I don't think I watched the first quarter and of course I've been told I didn't miss a whole lot. So
it wasn't worth watching.
But anyways, I woke up at 1:00 in the morning. Then after that, and then I was raring to go. So, but I appreciate all you young people coming and doing what you did. I know that it takes a lot to stand against the grain.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. And when you think about it, that's what you're doing, because I'm sure that your numbers are a lot fewer than the people that want to be than the liberal part of the situation in California.
Yeah, most definitely that is the case, but that's just the way that I've always been raised. My dad, he raised me in a way to only care about the opinions of those that I care about. Good quote that he told me was to not take criticism from somebody that you'd never ask for advice. And that's a quote that I've always tried to hold near and dear.
I think
about who the people that I choose to listen to in my life. Austin, I don't know much about your upbringing, but is there anything that you'd like to?
I'd say the same way. My dad's always been a diehard Republican, but we focus on truth. We're not here to listen to lies and listen to people we don't agree with as much, but we want to hear their side of things too, of course. We don't want to just come up with our own things. We want to hear both sides come to our own conclusion on what we believe is the truth.
Yeah. Because their beliefs came from somewhere, so you got to ascertain where that came from to see if there's some common ground that you can find and see where their beliefs come from, what it's rooted in.
You wouldn't understand. You've probably studied it, maybe, I don't know, and but at one time the Democrat Party stood for the working man always, and I mean, all my people were, all my folks were they worked for a living. I mean, they all paid union dues, and they all did what they needed to do. I mean, from the ones that worked in the coal mine to the steel mills to wherever. I mean, the Democratic Party has left the working part of this.
Yeah.
They've just left these people behind. Now the hierarchy in these unions is still think that the Democratic Party's way it should be. But I will tell you that I talked a lot in this campaign that I'm in right now. I've talked to lots of coal miners. I've talked to lots of steel workers. I've talked to guys that work all over the place in union guys, Teamsters. That was one of the things that really threw me, because I was at the fairgrounds and they got the Teamsters. There were several of them that I knew worked for the Teamsters, and they told me, they said, we are a rank and file, and he says we got to listen to the stupid union leaders that want to push the Democrat Party on us, but he says we don't vote that way. He says most of us haven't voted that way in years. He says, and if you really think about it, you scratch your head. It's been since 2016 when Donald Trump stepped up and said, "Hey, you know what? I want to take care of the working people," and that's where we're at right now. Yeah. I mean, we got the Schumer shutdown right now that's crippling the country. We got the Shapiro shutdown that's going to cripple the state and our county sooner or later. It will happen, believe me. If we don't get things, we're probably nigh on 130 days past June the 30th now, and when the budget was supposed to be set in the state, and this is where we're at. I mean, they just don't care about the people, and I mean, they'll say they do, but throwing money at the situation isn't working. I mean, you got how many different places now? I mean, I know at the courthouse they're gonna collect canned goods and for the different food banks that are running low. I'm sure that you've heard about it at the campus. I mean, there are different people that want you to donate to these things. Almost every church now is involved in doing something to help people out. And Thanksgiving's coming and Christmas, and I know that it's just. I know it's the holiday season's coming upon us, but we need to figure out how we're going to take care of these people and their children. I mean, the veterans need to be taken care of also. And I know Charlie Kirk was a big opponent for the veterans. And a lot of people say I didn't say anything about Charlie Kirk, but I mean, what was to say about him? I watched him almost every day on the videos and different things. I mean, that he put out. I mean, it'd come on my feed almost every day from somewhere that a different school he was at or a different rally he was at, and Austin, you have a shirt on. It says, and this is really true. Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right, and that's Charlie Kirk said that, and I really appreciate you wearing that shirt today. That means a lot. I mean, it's a big deal. We need to think about these things. I mean, and like my grandmother say, you need to ponder this over before you before you go any further. And that's where we need to be.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate that so many people, for the same reasons that you know what you know about Charlie Kirk from watching the videos, so many people have a skewed opinion on what his beliefs actually were because of the same videos. They just would hear quotes out of context and not get the proper meaning for what he was saying in his words. And before we came in today, we did a little bit of research about common talking points that people use about him that we could talk about a little bit as well, if you guys would want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, well, I'll go with the first one, Austin. I'll let you take the next one afterwards. A very common talking point about Charlie is that people would say that he is racist, and the common quote that they use out of him is that it was a quote of him saying, quote, "Boy, if I see a black pilot, I'm now going to wonder, is that individual qualified? Were they selected because of their race?" And this quote comes from an episode of his podcast, The Charlie Kirk Show, where he was talking about United Airlines, stating that they're going to institute a new policy that 50% of their pilots are going to either be people of color or women. And they were taking that proportion of their pilots from 15% to 50%. So half of their newly hired pilots would now become either people of color or women. And the problem with doing this affirmative action method for employing people is that the standards have to be lowered. Because DEI and affirmative action, they lower the thresholds of standards to increase things that do not matter, such as skin color and ethnic background. So they're reducing these standards so that they can have more people in these demographics become pilots, and they're not hiring them based off of their actual ability of being a pilot. They are instead hiring them based off of skin color and gender as the preference for it. So it's not saying that if I see a black pilot, I'm going to immediately think that they're not qualified. That would be a lie. Everybody has to pass the same quiz. Everyone has to take the same test and have the same qualifications, but obviously there are degrees to which somebody is good and somebody is skilled. So if the current quota, without having any DEI hiring practices right now, is 85% of them are white men, and you are decreasing that to only 50% and replacing it with demographics of people that are not as qualified on average, because not as many people in those demographics want to become pilots, by definition, you are going to be hiring people that are not as skilled at those jobs as the normal demographics for it. And that's not a racist statement. That is what happens when you institute DEI practices. So it's not that Charlie's racist, is that he was making an educated assumption based off of what the situation was, which is that they're not hiring based off of the best people for the job. They're hiring it based off skin color and gender, which is not what we should do. It's the complete opposite, because then that leads to those thoughts of thinking if somebody is or isn't qualified, whenever those thoughts shouldn't be there to begin with. DEI creates those racist beliefs. So, Austin, would you like to talk about the next point?
The next point we got is about gun violence. Charlie, he was a huge supporter of the Second Amendment, of course. And one of the good quote we found of him is, "Having an armed citizenry comes with a price, and that is part of liberty. We need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of unfortunately, but some gun deaths every single year, so that we have the Second Amendment." And he also compared saying owning a gun is similar to driving a car. People utilizing them comes with a risk of deaths. And it just proves that, he always talked about that, and he just said, the Second Amendment is very important because it protects all the other amendments. And it's the same as driving a car. There's going to be car accidents, deaths involving a car, but we're not going to get rid of cars just because of that fact. And people always blew it out of proportion, saying that he thinks everyone should have guns, and everyone needs to have big guns and all this, and it just, everything comes with a risk. And that's risk for reward, and we have to have that to protect our First Amendment and everything else.
Yeah, is the risk of people dying from guns worth everybody having the ability to have a gun, for the same reason that everybody having the ability to drive cars, there's immediately going to be people that die because of cars, but is the reward for having them better than the risk of them existing?
Yep. That was just something he always argued, and everyone blows that out of proportion, especially nowadays, just getting a little clip out of that quote and reposting it to social medias.
Because then people compare it like car deaths to gun deaths, and that's another big statistic that's blown out of proportion as well.
We've got some numbers here, in 2022, gun deaths, including gun suicide, homicide, and fatal unintentional shootings, outpaced motor vehicle deaths, both occupant and pedestrian, in 35 states, with 42,514 car deaths from the Bureau of Transportation, and then 48,117 gun deaths, including listed metrics, and then without counting suicide, there was 20,254,000. So almost half of what car deaths were gun deaths.
Yes. So if you include the metrics that he said previously, including suicide, homicide, and fatal unintentional shootings, then that means that gun deaths are just under six. There are just under 6,000 more gun deaths every year to car deaths. But if you take out just suicide, it drops to 20,254. So
that's still counting gang violence and everything.
yeah, so over half of all gun deaths every year are from suicide. If you remove suicide, then it's not even half of the car deaths every single year. So people that want to criticize Charlie for his opinion on the gun debate don't even understand how many people actually die from fatal usages of firearms every year. Not to mention the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of cases every year where a gun protects somebody from a crime being committed against them. So
Well, they totally ignore the abortion, the rate of people killed every day.
ironic, isn't it?
We say, why don't you give them a gun? And they'll say, no, you can't kill that baby with a gun. Take that gun away from him. I mean, it's absurd, the number of lives that are taken every day.
It is very absurd.
And they're trying to say gun violence is
a problem.
a problem.
Yes.
Killing
I mean,
babies, that's even more problem.
most of the people on the other side of the aisle, like I said, if you ask them when does life begin, they can't answer you.
No.
They can't answer you,
They're
because they're
arguing in circles
Well,
about
yeah,
it.
and if they do, they're afraid of losing their people that are behind them, because if they would truthfully answer you, but they won't. They won't, and this is how things are, and right now, and it's been 62 million abortions, and I mean, no matter how you look at it, there was a baby there, there was someone, there was a person there, and that's just so wrong.
Yeah, and Austin and I have actually experienced something similar to that on campus during one of our first tabling events that we did. We had a guy, I won't say his name, but he came up to our table. And he came up and he said to us that he really likes what we're doing and he really supports us. But he said that he couldn't become an official member of the club or anything like that because he knew that if he would lose pretty much every friend that he had on campus. Every single one of them would turn their backs on him and start spreading gossip. So he said that he really supports us and wants to see us do good, but he just isn't able to become an official member because that, to me at least, that's cult mentality. So it's on the case and it's very rampant on our campus.
You're exactly right. I mean that's what they want to keep. They want to keep all the people in, and they want them to be in line. They want them to believe exactly. And it's just like you said, just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. And I mean that's exactly what way it is.
Yeah, and that's actually very ironic because a big thing that they accuse Charlie as well as us being members of Turning Point is they can accuse us of being fascist Nazis, and that's another big talking point they have about Charlie. One of the big things that people got on him about was he would talk about things like the Great Replacement strategy, saying that American citizens are being replaced, well, specifically white American citizens are being replaced by people from other countries through means such as immigration and H-1Bs and all these other things. And people called him crazy for that. But if you actually do some of the research for it, you can see where his argument was coming from. So and this happened during the March 1st episode of the Charlie Kirk Show in 2024. But this talking point from that show was that this great replacement strategy is taking place, and there's some evidence to support that. In 2022 of October, the District of Columbia passed the Local Resident Voting Rights Amendment Act, which allows non-citizens, including undocumented immigrants, to vote in local elections such as mayor, council members, attorney general, and advisory neighborhood commissions, provided they are at least 18 years old and have lived in the district for a grand total of 30 days. Oh, wow, yeah. Local elections can now be determined by mass numbers of illegal immigrants being in the District of Columbia. And as we all know, when it comes to these things, once a precedent is set, then that becomes widespread. That's how things like the court system work. Once a precedent is set, then it's moved along further.
That's why you got to be careful when you go into court with anybody. You don't want to create no bad precedents.
Yes, exactly.
Because that could affect later people. I mean, and that's happened over years. I mean, you got to watch. You don't want to create what they I don't know what the correct term for it is, but you don't want to be the one that creates bad law.
Yeah.
So and we have to be very careful about how we do things.
Yeah.
The first of all, the judicial system wasn't meant to legislate, and that's part of the problem we've had in the last 30 years in this country. I mean, it's not. It was meant to follow the rule of law, and a lot of times we have judges that take it upon themselves to decide how the law should have been written, and that's where we end up.
Yeah, and to go along with what I was talking about with the October D.C. bill, in July of 2024, the Biden admin vetoed the SAVE Act, which would have required proof of citizenship for voter registration. So, and then to go along with this, as we know, the Biden administration had one of the most open border policies of any president in U.S. history, and the U.S. Census counts undocumented immigrants. And of course, they primarily congregated to the sanctuary cities as well as blue cities and red states such as Dallas. These skew the number of representatives in each state by including the illegal immigrants, because whenever the census takes place, they don't just count American citizens, they count undocumented immigrants as well. So with so many illegal immigrants entering these blue states, and specifically the blue cities, and many Americans leaving these cities for other places with the mass moving in states like California and New York, the average number of constituents based on the 2020 census was 761,169, and the total unauthorized immigrant population in the U.S. is estimated at 11.2 million in 2021 and rose to 11.3 by mid of 2022, with there being at least 6,547,514 nationwide encounters from January of 21 to May of 23. So under the Biden administration, they let in a significantly higher amount of illegal immigrants. Local laws began to pass that allowed undocumented immigrants to vote, while increasing the number of people in blue states to increase the number of representatives that would change during the 2030 census. So looking at all of that, you tell me that they are not trying to turn undocumented immigrants into a voter base.
Right, yeah, well, that was the plan all along. Now you're saying all those immigrants, 45% of those immigrants are now relying on those SNAP benefits.
Yes.
That's why the Democrats keep shutting down the government, because they want those immigrants. You know, we the taxpayers have to pay for these SNAP benefits.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact,
The majority of the immigrants are getting those SNAP benefits, and the Democrats are trying to protect these illegals that are here, instead of fighting for we the American people.
well, they think that we're crazy. They called us crazy for saying that illegal immigrants were recipients of anything like SNAP and Medicaid. And you can go on the Department of Justice's website. You can go on their website and you can look at the recipients for SNAP. And there was a section on their page that was logoed SNAP eligibility for non-citizens, but it has since been removed because of the Big Beautiful Bill Act of 2025. You can go on the website right now. If you go over there and you look at the SNAP recipients, you can go to eligibility and non-citizen eligibility. You can pull up the page and you will see that page exists, but because of the Big Beautiful Bill Act of 2025, that page is now taken down.
That sounds like Nazi to me, huh?
So I would have to do some more research using websites such as the Wayback Machine to look at what that page said before 2025, but I guarantee you, if you go on there, you could probably find everything that it said for a non-citizen to be eligible for SNAP benefits. Especially with Elon Musk, as you remember back in, I believe it was March, he talked about how the U.S. government was sending undocumented migrant social security numbers so that they could be recipients for these programs.
You know, we had all the Democrats for the past year at least saying that that's never existed. We don't give any money, no benefits to them, but the proof's right there. It's right in the, proof's in the pudding, as they would say.
Yeah. How does that cycle go? They go from saying it's not happening to it's happening in a small amount, saying it's happening, but it's not that bad, versus saying it's happening, and it's a good that it's happening. That's the way the cycle goes, right? So it's a full circle cycle.
Before the election, it didn't exist, and now it exists, and now it's great.
Yeah, that's the truth, isn't it? Such hypocrisy.
Once they get busted on their actual opinions and takes on these things, the things that they've been doing, they go from saying that it never happened to it's a good thing that it's happening.
Well, right now, some of the comments are that the Democrats are treating their taxes like their personal Amazon shopping cart. And what they're wanting to fund right now, why they're denying that, is transgender people in Nepal. There's $833,000 for that.
Yep.
Electric buses in Rwanda. There's $500,000 for that. $6 million for media organizations for the Palestinians. Look at this. $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti.
Exactly
You can't make this stuff up. And that's why the Democrats are saying, no, we want the government shut down because we want this money to go here, overseas, in foreign countries.
And then they blame the president for it.
blaming
The president has no say in the government shutdown. That has to do with the Republican members of the House, and they do not want this rigorous spending to continue.
But when the Democrats shut it down, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's just when the Republicans and President Trump it's just
when they
Americans are struggling, and they don't really care. They don't give a damn.
well, when the Republicans did it during the Affordable Care Act, that was an act of evil. Them doing it now, this is morally justified.
Yeah, right. It's crazy.
It's
so good to see these young people thinking like that. Isn't
it is.
John?
It is.
With common sense, just common sense.
Well, it's necessary research that needs to be done. People do not want to do this research. So the way I look at it, I've always been good at doing stuff like this. I've always enjoyed doing my own independent research on things and being able to figure out the reasons why these things work. So for me, this is something that I've always enjoyed doing. And I know that not everybody wants to do it. So if not everybody's going to do it, I'll do it and I'll bring it to their doorstep until they can see the way things truly work.
You're passing on the legacy that Charlie Kirk started with motivating young people to do exactly what you're doing. So
well, that's that's what marketing's about, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to figure out
your message.
Yep, you have to figure out the message, and you may have to deliver it. It has to be delivered in specifics. You can't twist it anyway, and people need to understand that what it's about right from the beginning, and you need to be able to say it in as few words as possible. Because after, I would say probably back in our day, back in the day when I remember the Wendy's commercial. It just it was where's the beef, and that was all it was. And then do you remember the Coca-Cola commercial where they just flashed the Coca-Cola label up for 10 seconds?
No.
Yeah, they did that in the '60s. They did that. Well, then they stopped them from doing it because people. Yeah, because people were starting to go. They were starting to. Man, where's our Coke? Well, we don't have no Coke, so we'd have to run to the grocery store to buy Coca-Cola. And back then, it came in glass bottles, and you had to return the bottles, boys. Yeah. But you think about all these things, but fewer words said sometimes are the best. And I often think of when people argue with you and how things go, I often think of Churchill. He always says you can't stop and throw stones at every barking dog. And there was the man that saved the whole Western world. But I mean, the Great Britain stood their ground. The island of Great Britain stood their ground against the massive armies and against fascism and Nazism. Yeah, and he understood that if we have to fight in the streets, we're going to have to fight in the streets. And that was one of the things that I feel like we've lost that. We've lost them, that part of our society with the generation, the greatest generation that ever. They're gone. Most of them are gone now.
Yeah. Well, I can say a lot of that definitely. Even while he was still there, it got lost. As soon as the war ended, the Parliament for Great Britain wanted to start passing acts for universal health care, and he opposed it. So they booted him right out. They said, "Oh, thanks for saving us from the Nazis. See you later."
Yeah. Well,
what a thank you that is.
And you often think about it. It didn't come back around again probably until like Margaret Thatcher took office, and she stood her ground, and then I mean there was a lot of things but she even said socialism only works till the money runs out, and that's
that's a great quote.
And you think about it, that's true. I mean, and that's kind of where we're at. I mean, this country is the greatest country in the world, without a doubt. I mean, we have and it should be the greatest country in the world. We have more resources here than we don't even know what we have for sure. I mean, between we could start out with energy, the coal, the oil, the gas, natural gas, the timber that in this country. We don't need to get nothing from anyone else. We can manufacture it right here somehow. And that's part of what we need to get back to. I mean, I'm not saying we need to seclude ourselves from the rest of the world, but we need to get back to we're manufacturing everything here. Everything.
100% agree. The only thing that's holding us back is ourselves. There's no reason that we should not be the biggest powered country on this planet, but we kneecap ourselves through things like restrictions of nuclear energy and and oil drilling. We put so many restrictions on ourselves, and that allows these other countries like China to get ahead of us. The only reason China's ever been in a position to become the biggest superpower on the planet is because we have allowed them to through our own misuse of our abilities that we have.
Well, just think about this. We were producing more right in Masontown, Pennsylvania, and I know there's problems with burning the coal and the people that surround Masontown. You know, I mean, they had to put up with ash and they had to put up with a lot of things, but it just seemed like they were getting cleaner and cleaner and cleaner the way they were burning the coal and burning the oil and doing all them things to make electricity. We left that leave southwestern Pennsylvania. There's no way that should ever left southwestern Pennsylvania. That created so many jobs between coal miners, between the power workers that worked at the power plant, and the West Penn workers that helped distribute the electric. I mean, I heard it said one time, and I hope I get this right, that for every job at that power plant, there were 6 other jobs created. So if there was 400 guys working there, that was 2,400 jobs that helped. You know, from the butcher, the baker, to the candlestick maker or whatever, the people that made clothes, sold clothes, and did all them things. And we lost that. I mean, our county commissioners raised taxes in the last 6 years 78.2%, and we should be able. If that power plant was down there, they should have done everything in their power to stop it. Not wait till it's gone and say, oh, maybe we can do this or we can do that. The same thing with Penn State. They waited till Penn State made the announcement before they all jumped aboard and did anything. Now there's other people working on it, but they waited till they had 1 foot out the barn door and the horse was already coming out before they decided to stop or do anything about it. And now they're trying to tout, well, we're doing what we can. Well, no, you're not. You didn't do it. It should have been done beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, that's...
And put the toothpaste back in the toothpaste.
Exactly, but you got a check you want to present them with?
Yes. That's
And
right,
we
yes.
only got a few minutes.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Randy, and I'll give this to Austin, who's the treasurer. This is a check for $3,375 made out to all of you at the Penn West chapter.
That's
at
amazing.
California University. So congratulations. Best of luck to you. Our prayers are with all of you. And if you need anything, just give me and the Hillbilly a call, right?
Yep.
We truly can't
Right
thank
there.
both of you enough for all of your
so
support
much.
to us and just doing your best to support us, doing what we can on our campus. It means more than you could ever possibly imagine to us.
Well, we're hoping we can get. We know that there's some chapters. We're at least 1 or 2 chapters forming here in Fayette County, and I'm going to try to connections together with these people to help you out. And I think that'll be a big help for everybody.
If there's anything that we can do to give that assistance back to you guys, just we're 1 phone call away.
Yep.
It's so good.
Where we at, Nick? I think we got about a minute left. I appreciate you coming down. There's a parade in Connersville tonight that I just found out while I was sitting in the car. I thought it was Thursday night, and of course
Halloween parade.
that's the way we are. That's the way I am. I always it just got away from me with everything going on. But anyways, hey, I'd like to. I really do like for everybody that joined in. I really want. I want that's listening. Thank you so much for all the help and everything you've given me. The other thing I want to mention real quickly, once we get through the election here, I'm going to take a little bit of a sabbatical and take a vacation from the radio for a week or so, and I'll probably be back on for Thanksgiving again. Hey, by the way, it's EMS Workers Day today. If you see an EMS worker, buy them a cup of coffee or just say thank you, and I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Mom.
Well, on this road called life, you have to take the good with the bad. Smile when you're sad. Love what you got and remember what you had. Always forgive and try to forget. People change. Things go wrong. But just remember, the ride goes on. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless America. I am John Marietta, and I am the Hillbilly.